Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to today's webinar. So this is the Microsoft licensing updates for partners. This is the May 2021 set. Before we kickstart the session, I just wanted to give people just a minute or so just to jump on, and then we'll get going. Okay, wonderful. Just to say, this session will be recorded, so if anybody does have to drop off or won't be able to make the full session, that's absolutely fine. I'll be sending out a recording of this webinar tomorrow. Okay, so as mentioned, this is the licensing update webinar hosted by John Gorton, the head of Microsoft Practice and Solution here at Bytes, and he is joined by Fabienne Poquet, the Microsoft licensing specialist here at Bytes also. Before I let them dive into the content, I just wanted to cover over a few housekeeping pointers. So during the webinar, you are muted, but you can submit questions at any time using the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen, or by emailing timemore@bytes.co.uk. If a question springs to mind after the session, please do use that email address to send us anything, and we will pass it on to the relevant specialist or account manager to answer. There is a Q&A session at the end to answer any questions submitted. As mentioned just a second ago, the webinar will be recorded and made available to you tomorrow. And at the end, we have a feedback form, and we do encourage you to submit your to get involved and use it to request a call back from an account manager. Okay, with that said, I'm going to pass it over to John. Kickstart the session. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Danny. So I'm just going to talk through the agenda very quickly. We're going to talk through some product releases and how they're licensed, some changes Microsoft are making to their open license program, and then some price changes, both increases and decreases that we can expect from July onwards. Then I go through some offers that we and Microsoft have got available to help your customers reduce their costs of adopting various Microsoft technologies. Fabian will then take us through some changes to software assurance benefits and the retirement of some of those software assurance benefits. And I'll finish off by talking briefly about some of the workshops and quick starts that we've got available, which basically help your customers or provide an introduction to technology to your customers, or help them get started with regards to things like Azure adoption or Windows Virtual Desktop. So with that, I'll hand over to, I'll start with, I'll hand over to Fabienne just to talk through some product updates.
Good morning. So first, a look at the future of Microsoft Productivity Servers. Microsoft has announced that the Exchange, SharePoint, Skype for Business and Project servers will be available in the second half of 2021, but it will only be available as a subscription license, so there won't be any perpetual licenses for these available. Microsoft will share additional details around official names, pricing and availability of all of the products at a later date. And then on the next slides, we also see a next version of Office, which will be released later this year for Office LTSC for a large organization and Office 2021 for small business and consumers. A commercial preview has been available for these since April. And with the release of Office, Microsoft have advised that the price of Office LTSC will increase by 10% and that it will be supported for 5 years. Microsoft has also committed to release a few further versions in the future.
Yeah, just to add on to that one, so with the 10% price increase, we're expecting the release of this to be somewhere around the October timeframe, which is typically where Microsoft release the new Office products. The 5 years of support is new, so typically it's been around 10 years of mainstream support and then extended support on top of that. So moving to 5 years of support is quite a big change. Also, just to add, so need to plan for that.
Thank you. There's also been some name changes, with Microsoft changing the Advanced Threat Protection suite of products to Microsoft Defender, and they're also evolving their Azure Security Center to becoming Azure Defender for cloud and hybrid solution. So with the Microsoft 365 Defender suite, which prevents, detects, and responds to threats across identities, endpoints, cloud apps, emails, and documents in end-user environments, we have Microsoft Defender for endpoints, which was previously Microsoft or Windows Defender for ATP to protect client devices, Microsoft Defender for Office 365, which was previously called Office 365 ATP to protect emails, cloud apps, and documents, and Microsoft Defender for Identity, which was previously called Azure ATP, and that's to protect identities. For Azure Defender, to protect multi-cloud and hybrid workloads, including virtual machines, database, containers, and IoT, we have Azure Defender for Servers, that was previously Azure Security Center Standard Edition, Azure Defender for IoT, which was previously Azure Security Center for IoT, and Azure Defender for SQL, which was previously Advanced Threat Protection for SQL. And there's an announcement and a video at the bottom of the screen here, which you'll be able to see on the slides. And then there's also a license check for advanced e-discovery that Microsoft brought in back in April. So to use the advanced e-discovery features, all the users need to be licensed with either advanced e-discovery and AuditSQ, Microsoft 365 E5 compliance, Office 365 E5, or the Microsoft 365 E5 suites. Without a single advanced compliance or E5 seats, administrators and users will no longer be able to create cases. They will, however, be able to continue to have access to existing cases created prior to April 16th. Then we also see a Power BI Premium per user licensing option. So this brings the premium features licensed on a per user basis instead of the per node option. So every user accessing or creating a dashboard with the premium features will need to be licensed with a premium per user license. And for customers licensed with Office 365 or M365 E5, which already includes Power BI Pro, there is a premium add-on option, which just brings the premium features to the existing Pro license. And then on the next slide, we also see some changes to the compliance suite. So the compliance suite was first introduced back in February 2019 and has since received additional values. It's seen some licensing changes, and as such, Microsoft will bring the price up on the Microsoft 365 E5 compliance license. But we also see some optional add-ons available to support customers' unique needs. So often customers will have complex requirements and will want flexibility in purchasing features based on what they need to consume. So on the next slide, you'll see Microsoft has released some new add-ons to help customers do just that. They were released back in the 1st of February. And so what we have is the Premium Compliance Assessment add-on. That brings additional out-the-box assessments, and that's priced at $2,500 per assessment per month. We also have a 10-year audit log retention to advanced audit add-on. That's priced at $2 per user per month, and that increases the 1-year audit log retention that's currently available in E5. And then finally, we have data connectors to E5 to import and archive third-party data, such as Zoom or WhatsApp, for example. And that's licensed on a per 500 gig per month basis. And then finally, on the next slide, we have Microsoft Viva. So Microsoft recently introduced Microsoft Viva. It brings together communication, knowledge, learning, resources, and insights into an integrated experience. And that is available through Microsoft Teams and through other Microsoft 365 apps. So to start with, Microsoft Viva will have the 4 modules that you see there. And Microsoft will be adding more of these in the future. So what we have here is Viva Connection. Viva Connections is a company branded employee app in Teams. So it brings personalized news, communications, tasks, people, and resources. And it builds on existing capabilities in Microsoft 365, such as SharePoint and Yammer. And it pulls all your communication together in a pre-configured app in Teams. That's designed for both desktop and mobile workers. And it also acts as a launching pad to the other 3 Viva modules, like Insights, which brings together workplace analytics, My Analytics, and Glint into a unified insight app in Teams. And that provides data-driven, privacy-protected insights for individual managers and leaders. So for example, employees will get personalized insights only they can see. That helps them protect time for breaks, focus work, learning, in order to promote improved productivity and well-being. We also have Viva Topics that focuses on knowledge and expertise. So Topics applies artificial intelligence to identify knowledge and experts and organize them into what Microsoft called the shared topics. So the AI automatically creates a topic page for each topic, and these topic pages are surfaced as topic cards in the flow of work of Office and of Teams. And then finally, we have Learning that allows employees to easily discover informal and formal learning in the flow of work. So it aggregates content from LinkedIn Learning, from Microsoft Learn, and from third-party training contents your customers might already have all in one place. Along with providing aggregation and recommendation, it also allows managers to assign track training and report on training within and across teams. And so Viva Topics is available today. It's licensed on a per user as an add-on to most Office 365 and Microsoft 365 suites. Viva Connection is available to any user license with SharePoint Online or a suite that includes it, like Office 365 V1, for example. It started to roll out to existing SharePoint Online tenants in March. And then finally, we have Viva Insights. That's available to users licensed with Workplace Analytics. And then finally, Viva Learning isn't available yet. It should be back in preview soon.
That's great. Thank you, Fabian. So I'm just going to talk through some program changes, specifically around the open license retirement. So as part of Microsoft's modern licensing, or new commerce experience, as they're calling it, Microsoft have announced that they're retiring basically one of their oldest licensing programs, the Open License Program. So Open was designed for small and medium-sized organizations, so anything up to kind of, well, 500 seats really. So this has obviously been around for many years, available to you guys through distribution, and it offered perpetual licensing and software assurance. So from the end of this calendar year, your customers will no longer be able to transact through Open. So from 1st of January 2022, there's a few options available for you. So if your customers are buying perpetual software, so on premises without software assurance, you can now buy through the cloud solution provider, so CSP. So that is available to you as of today for commercial customers, and then will become available in July for government, education, and non-profit, as you can see on screen. If you've got software assurance through existing open license program, the software assurance term, including all of the benefits, that will continue until the expiration of the agreement, even if that's beyond the end of December this year. If your customers want to buy new licenses with software assurance, then you can purchase through the Open Value program. So Difference between Open Value and Open License is Open License was a 2-year program, whereas Open Value offers annualized payments on over a 3-year term. If your customers are wanting to choose one of the kind of Microsoft platform products, so Windows Office, for example, they can purchase in the Open Value subscription agreement. So that offers a non-perpetual licensing option, so subscription as kind of the name suggests. Again, that's a 3-year term. Initial cost of entry is a lot lower because you're buying a subscription license as opposed to buying a license outright through the perpetual license agreement, Open Value. If you've got any customers with online services through Open, then any unused online services tokens, they can still be assigned and used even after December, but they need to be claimed within a 5-year time frame of purchasing the tokens. It's obviously our recommendation that no customer buys online services through Open License. It's really messy. There's lots of different alignment of dates, and it can be fairly complex. So try and encourage your customers to purchase through CSP, which obviously is, hopefully you're aware, is a lot easier to manage. So back in February, Microsoft announced that they plan to increase the price of their enterprise mobility and security, so EMS, E3, and Intune as of the 1st of July. So EMS is increasing from $9 per user per month to $11, and Intune increasing from $6 to $8 per user per month. We are told that the price of Microsoft 365 E3 won't change, even though EMS and Intune are components of M365 E3, and also there's no mention of any price changes to E5 either on that front. So if you haven't already done so, your customers can lock in prices into their existing agreements. So, for example, with an enterprise agreement, if these 2 items are added, that will lock in the price for the entire term of their EA, or if you're transacting through CSP, then as soon as you buy a single license within CSP, that then locks it for a 12-month time frame in that subscription. So you may need to start a new subscription if you've already got existing customers with existing products, or like I say, you can just add subscriptions to kind of reset that 12-month term. We've also seen some price decreases that happen very often, but specifically around Microsoft Frontline Worker options. So the F1 and F3 SKUs have reduced. So F3 is reduced by 20% and F1 by 44%. So both Bytes and Microsoft have got some offers available to help your customers reduce the costs of adopting various Microsoft Cloud technologies. I'll just talk through some of those offers. The first one, audio conferencing. So in case you're not aware, an audio conference license allows Teams participants to join the meetings by dialing in using a phone number. So let's say, for example, they've got a poor internet connection, they can dial a number to kind of join the meeting. So the host needs to have the audio conferencing subscription to enable the dial-in option, not the participant. They can join effectively free of charge once the host has got the license to do so. The offer is effectively audio conferencing for free. So if your customers have got enterprise agreements, they can get audio conferencing for free until the end of their agreement term. And if they're buying through CSP, then again, similar to the last one, you can effectively get the offer for a 12-month time frame. So it's available until the end of June. It is only available to net new seats, so you can't reduce paid-for licenses and replace for obviously the free offer, unfortunately. There's an offer around M365 deployment vouchers. So Bytes are a fast track partner. So basically we offer Microsoft fast track service. So takes your customers through best practices and guidelines around adopting Microsoft online services. So if they've bought licenses, 150 more Microsoft 365 or Office 365 licenses, for example, they can qualify for fast track. So get your customers enrolled in that, and we can help guide them through adopting those technologies, obviously, unless that's something you offer yourselves. But just to add, there is a Microsoft 365 deployment voucher, so that's $10 effectively per license that your customers buy. They need to be buying 300 or more licenses of Microsoft 365, new licenses, I should say, and they could receive up to $50,000 in deployment service credits. So that's available now until the end of June. Has been around since October, I believe that started. It's for Microsoft managed accounts only, so your customers will need to have a conversation with a Microsoft account manager and obtain a voucher code to kick that off. And then once we have that voucher, we can then log it with Microsoft to basically claim the money and help with the deployment of said services. Bytes are effectively an Azure expert MSP as part of the Bytes Technology Group, so in partnership with our sister company Phoenix. And with that, we've got access to the Azure migration program, which effectively we follow the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework with regards to Azure migration data center to so an on-premise data center to Azure, for example, or Windows Virtual Desktop. As part of AMP, we also have funding or access to a funding pot with Microsoft. So if you've got any customers interested in doing data center migrations or adopting WVD, then again, speak to your Bytes account manager, and we can put you in touch with one of our cloud architects to kind of kickstart that process. We've got a direct routing proof of concept available, so is £450, and basically that gives you a 60-day proof of concept, which switches on, enabling integration with existing telephony providers and Microsoft Teams to basically allow you to make phone calls from Microsoft Teams. So again, if your customer's interested in that, and it's not your area of expertise, then do engage your Bytes account manager, and we can send you the collateral for that to put in front of your customers. And then we've got two quick starts. So we've got an Azure Foundation quick start. This one is basically to build a landing zone for your customers. It goes through all of the governance and kind of policies that you need to put in place when building out a new Azure environment. It can be used either as a proof of concept or, as I said, a landing zone for your customers to then build on top of. But that's kind of the first point that you should potentially look at. On top of that, if your customers are then looking at WVD, before we get into kind of the Azure migration program, we can create a WVD proof of concept. So 5 users or so environment where we basically set up with access to virtual desktops in Azure. So again, there's a link on screen. You can learn more about that, but it's, again, something we can help with. Then we've got a 50-point security posture assessment. So if your customers have already adopted Microsoft 365 or Office 365, there are certain configurations you can enable within Microsoft 365 to improve the security posture. Obviously, as we all know, Microsoft 365 E5 contains all of the bells and whistles, but there's certainly a lot you can do with just the E3 suite to improve things there. So again, we've got a 50-point health check, basically assesses your customers' Microsoft 365 tenant, and then provides provides you guys with a report and guidance of what you can do to kind of improve that. I've already spoken through the fast track piece. I won't cover that again, but just to say there is a playbook and there's more information on fast track on our webpage. And then lastly, there is an offer which is 50% off the home use program. So those customers that have already have bought software assurance, typically for Office or online services, they might be eligible for the home use program, in which allows their employees to get a 50% discount off a personal or family subscription to Microsoft 365 through the home use program. So the 50% discount is available until the 16th of June, after which it will revert back to the standard 30% discount. So there's on the home use program website, as you can see on screen, there are a few flyers you can potentially use to promote the home use program within your customers. And with that, I'll hand back to Fabienne to talk around some changes to software assurance.
Thank you. So in the past year, Microsoft has announced that they'll be making changes to software assurance benefits available to all customers. Microsoft are investing in new ways to help customers deploy, train, and receive supports, and they're making the following changes to these benefits. So Microsoft are retiring deployment planning servicing days and training services, and they're also changing the way the SA support benefit, where you previously had a certain number of support instances based on the SA you purchased. You now have an unlimited support with a minimum of $250,000 of SA spent. So on the next slide, you can see an overview of the dates of the changes. So if you look at the dates, you can see that as of today, only existing customers whose agreement started prior to February 2021 will have access to DPS days and training vouchers. And if they purchase additional licenses, it won't accrue any additional days. A couple of important dates here. One of them is June 30th, 2021. That's the last day your customers can activate training vouchers and DPS days with partners. And these can be used until December 2021. The 24/7 problem resolution support benefits, that will be retired in February 2022. So on the next slide, just a reminder again, just to ensure that your customers who have still existing DPS days and training vouchers are getting these assigned to partners by the 30th of June. Once they're assigned to partners, they have until December 2021 to use them. And that's all from me. Over to you, John.
That's great. Thank you very much. And then just quickly, I'm going to talk through some workshops. Like I said, when I was talking through the agenda, we've got some workshops and the quick starts that I've already covered, basically to help kind of introduce technologies to your customers. Typically, the workshops are available for £2,000. They can be funded by Microsoft. So some of the modern workplace and security workshops are basically provided by Bytes, but funded through Microsoft's Cloud Accelerate funding. So if your customer is a managed customer of Microsoft's and they meet certain criteria, then potentially we can get funding to do certain workshops. So the different types of workshops we've got available. So the velocity workshops are effectively there to, like I say, introduce the technologies to your customers. They are typically full day workshops and go into quite a lot of depth in terms of the technologies available. And then we've got quick starts, as I discussed, during the Office piece. Those are more trying to get the customers up and running with regards to the Azure technology, so WVD and creating a landing zone in Azure, which they can build upon. Just to give you, I'm going to go through all of these workshops in detail, but we've got various workshops across Microsoft Teams, as you can see at the top. So they're pretty popular. the various different security workshops across the middle row. Again, trying to introduce the various different Microsoft 365 E5 technologies to your customers. They prove to be really popular as well. And then the secure work from anywhere, obviously with remote working, that's a good one to kind of introduce those various different technologies for customers. And I've already talked kind of through the WVD quick start. So in terms of Azure, we've got the introduction to Azure. So if your customers are really new to Microsoft Cloud, then this one's a half-day workshop. It's free of charge actually. So that one could be used, just to introduce the concepts. And then moving on from that, there's the cloud migration workshop and the foundation quick start. If you've got any customers looking at Power Platform or looking at what they should do with their data, then we've got various different kind of data analytics and Power Platform workshops and quick starts. A couple of which a dashboard in a day and app in a day. So dashboard in a day basically creates a Power BI dashboard and links to some of their internal data, just to give them an example of kind of what the art of the possible is with Power BI. Same to be said with the app in a day is using Microsoft Power Apps and Power Automate, just to show what the capabilities are of those products. So that's the end of this webinar. I'm just going to check through to see if we've got any questions. I can't see anything on my screen. Danny, can you see if we've got any questions on there, or everything been answered as we've gone?
No, we haven't received any questions. If you do have any, would like to ask John or Fabian anything, please do drop it in the questions box. If not, please email Tell Me More at bytes.co.uk. Yes, it doesn't look like we'll received anything. Okay, no worries. All right then, thank you to both John and Fabian for presenting today's webinar. We hope you found it useful. As mentioned, this session has been recorded, so you'll be able to share it with colleagues or watch again at your own convenience. So thank you again for joining and have a wonderful day. Thank you all.